Viewers, the verdict by the Supreme Court today regarding stray dogs in the National Capital Region is being termed as historic and landmark. The Apex Court, taking suo motu cognizance of rise in dog bite cases, ordered the eviction of all stray dogs from the streets of NCR within 8 weeks. The two-judge bench did not mince its words while explaining the seriousness of the situation. From terming stray dog issue as a menace to calling for their removal at all costs, the Supreme Court made Delhi a model which could be next followed in other states. Let's take you through some of the strong remarks made by the Supreme Court today. Now, this is what the court has said. The court has come out to talk about public safety being the priority and said that society should be free from stray dogs. They've also gone on to add that immediate steps needed to end this menace. They further added that not doing this for us, it is for public interest, is what the court states. They also say that young kids at no cost should fall prey to rabies, and they've also said that no sentiments of any nature should be involved in such a debate. Will the animal rights activists be able to bring back rabies victims? Legal action against those resisting relocation of dogs is what the court has stated. Now, in particular, when we talk about what really is the issue that we are discussing, what is the rationale behind Supreme Court's verdict, it is the numbers. For a city like Delhi, it's so small in size. However, the number of stray dogs in this urban metropolis is quite shocking. It's not in hundreds or thousands, but in lakhs. And this is the number we're talking about. In 2023, the number of stray dogs was estimated at 10 lakhs. The dog bite cases reported from Jan to July 2025 is 90,000. That's a whopping number of cases that has been reported, and that really, of course, is very significant. Court had been, in fact, talking about the various problems with the ABC rules that were formed in 2023 to end the dog versus man conflict. The ABC rules specifically say that the guidelines will be there to manage stray dog population, and they've also, of course, added that the focus will be on sterilization and vaccination of dogs. This is, of course, replaced the 2001 ABC rules, and the stray dogs are to be picked up, sterilized and sent back were the rules. In fact, the aim was then stated at preventing the spread of rabies. This is what was specifically stated as far as these rules were concerned, but this had drawn the court's ire. This is not the first time that a matter concerning stray dogs was taken up by a court in the country, but this is indeed the first time when the top court of the country has taken such a strong stand. What really has been said earlier in May 2024 that cannot indiscriminately kill canines is what courts have said. Supreme Court itself has said must exhibit compassion to all beings. They've said that there is a space for all animals, there's all space for animals, no space for humans. Why don't you feed them in your home is also a question that was asked in July 2025. The Kerala High Court in August 2025 has stopped the Kerala government from implementing euthanasia. They had said that they must strike a balance between animals as well as human rights. This is in fact what has been stated. In fact, we have more details coming in. The Supreme Court has ordered Delhi to be dog-free. Will other states also follow the Delhi model is what we are looking at, because the Rajasthan High Court has echoed the top court as far as this particular case is concerned. The Rajasthan High Court coming out to in fact also echo the concerns that have been expressed in the case of Delhi. So will the Delhi model then be replicated in other states is a question that certainly arises given this development. Let's quickly open this up and take it across to our guests joining us. We have Harish, in fact, or Harish Nair is joining us. Harish, will this model now be implemented in other states? Has the Supreme Court set the template for the rest of the country?
Yes, that's right, Madhav. Hours after the Supreme Court order on stray dogs, now Rajasthan High Court has asked the municipal authorities to rid the state's roads of stray dogs and also other stray animals, and has given full freedom to the municipal authorities to take action and even lodge FIRs against those who obstruct such a move, including filing of FIR. But the High Court has very clearly said that it should be ensured that minimum harm is caused to such strays, including be it dogs, monkeys or cattle So, a very strict order given by the
Will this
Rajasthan
be
High Court.
implemented across the country? That's something we're watching out for. Thanks so much, Harish, for joining us. Let's take it across to our guest now. With us is Gauri Maulekhi, animal welfare activist. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai is chairperson of NEFRON, joining us. Gauri Maulekhi, while this debate has been raging for quite some time now, we've seen various courts adjudicate on this. This is perhaps the most stringent order that has come in. The court saying enough is enough. At the end of the day, while certainly everyone has a right to keep pets, but then when it comes to strays who are attacking young children or senior citizens and them losing their lives, that's where things become extremely complicated, and the court saying enough is enough quite clearly. Gauri Maulekhi.
Oh, that's right. The courts did acknowledge that there was a problem, and there is a problem. Nobody wants street dogs on their, in the streets without any food or any shelter. Nobody wants that, but there is a way to resolve this situation. The knee-jerk manner in which all dogs are, about 10 lakh dogs in Delhi and NCR cannot be removed, overnight with the press of a button and put in shelters, which are basically concentration camps where diseases will fester more and public health will be impacted more negatively than if the dogs were living as they are living now with vaccination and neutering. This field is governed by a specific law, the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act and the Animal Birth Control Rules 2023. There are previous orders of the Honorable Supreme Court that also have not been overruled. The rule and the act have not been overruled. And while, the two conflicting orders of the Supreme Court cannot exist in the same universe. One has to be overruled by a larger bench, of the Supreme Court. Without it, there cannot be a two-judge bench order of Justice Maheshwari saying that rules have to be implemented, and another two-judge bench saying we will not even consider the rules. So we are very confused at this time.
Okay.
That this kind of a liberty.
But hasn't the court said we're not going to entertain any intervention where this is going to be the final word? Hasn't the court made that quite clear that this is going to be the operative order?
That's right. They have, yes, they have made. That is right. They have said also that they have, in fact, disregarded some of the suggestions given by their own amicus, Mr. Gaurav Agarwal, who said that some dogs could be adopted. The bench was not inclined to, entertain the benefits of having dogs adopted, or that there would be training required for manpower who will go out to catch these dogs.
Right.
Now, understand the consequences of these orders. If untrained people are sent out to catch these dogs, there will be more dog bites in one day than you would see in 1 year.
Okay, the solution is worse than the problem. Dr. Bagai, I want Dr. Bagai to respond to you on that. Dr. Bagai, Gauri Maulekhi is essentially saying that the solution is worse than the problem. A, we don't have the infrastructure. B, we don't have enough trained personnel. And, doing this overnight is too drastic a measure to be practically implemented. Your views on that?
Good evening. So I'll break it up in three very, very quick parts. First is, what is the actual problem on the ground? The problem on the ground is that we have more than 70 million stray dogs in India, more than 10 lakhs in Delhi. We have more than 30 lakh dog bites annually. That amounts to 8 dog bites per minute in India. We have 36% of the world's rabies population in India. More than 20,000 people are dying in India because of dog bites and rabies. More than 20% of that population is young children under the age group of 5. These are largely preventable. Point number 2 is, how do we go forward? Now, not going forward is not moving forward at all. Yes, the timeline may be of a constraint, but it is a move in the correct direction. There needs to be capacity building, there needs to be training, there needs to be infrastructure and manpower and so on. Yes, but we can't have stray dogs who are rabid or non-rabid inhabiting the same area as human beings, children, elderlies. We are looking at rabies as a statistical figure, but look at the number of children who have mutilating injuries, elderlies who have falls, fractures of the fracture neck femur, fractures of other parts of the body.
Yeah, I want Gauri Maulekhi to respond to that. There are huge public health concerns. There is data that backs the fact that this is a crisis, not an anecdotal fear.
Correct.
And the biggest problem is even the earlier thought of solutions of, the kind of ABC rules which have the humane sterilization and vaccination model, it requires at least 70% of the population coverage to work, but most cities have fallen short. And that's been the case for several years now.
Correct. Correct. That is actually right. And Dr. Bagai would also appreciate that the National Center for Disease Control, which comes under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, has put out a national action plan on rabies eradication, which also confers that animal birth control, the sterilization and vaccination program is the way to go forward with controlling of rabies. Putting them in one concentration camp or several concentration camps where thousands of dogs have been put together. Imagine if there are 10 lakh dogs, how many shelters are we going to make and how many dogs are we going to put in every shelter? How much space are we going to give to every dog? This will be a disease outbreak situation of mammoth proportions. And that is not envisaged in either law or science. Hence, a high throughput animal birth control program is what Delhi needed. Now, Delhi has 20 animal birth control centers. With the previous regimes of governments, they were completely made dysfunctional and full of corruption, which is why a contempt case on Delhi's municipal corporation is pending before the Delhi High Court.
Yeah, but then, that logic, Gauri Maulekhi, it's like if we have corruption in this country, we can't say disband the CBI or, disband the Lokayukta. That's not a solution. We have to find a more drastic solution, isn't it?
No, this drastic solution will actually land up the entire population of Delhi in many, many more problems. You remove dogs from the ecosystem of Delhi, what will happen? The monkeys will take over, the cats will have an overrun, there will be rats all over the place. This is a scientific
ecosystem imbalance argument. Rats, monkeys will all take over. Very quickly, I want Dr. Bagai to answer that question. Dr. Bagai, the ecosystem will be thrown off balance. Your response to that?
Then we would have want the monkeys removed and the pigeons removed. We would have a sanitized environment with no animals in it.
Yeah, so, to compare animal predatory cycle and then wish away rabies deaths and injuries would be foolhardy. I'm not going into the predatory cycle, but the important point here is that all residents of Delhi or other metros who love animals so much, who want to feed them on the roads, please adopt them, take them into your drawing room and living room and house them there. Point number two, all people who don't want the stray dogs moving off the streets, that means keeping them on the streets, please come and visit a rabies ward for a couple of days, work with us and see the pain, the horror, the trauma, the torture which patients and their families go through in not only rabies but mutilating injuries. We cannot have the same in habitat of stray dogs and human beings, especially children and the elderly who are vulnerable. We need an action going forward. Maybe the timeline of 2 months may be of a constraint. Maybe the manpower, the infrastructure, the capacity building will take time. But let's move forward. The only way to go forward is to take a step in the correct direction.
Absolutely.
That's what the Supreme
we have
Court
to move
has done.
forward because this back and forth has been going on and playing out in courts across the country for quite some time now. We'll have to leave it there. Gauri Maulekhi, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, I'd like to thank both of you for joining us. And we will have to see how this all pans out on ground. Thanks so much for joining us.